Rome did not perish from an invasion, but from an invitation. Imagine you hire security guards for your home, pay them, train them, and arm them. Then, 20 years later, they kick you out of your own house. That is exactly what Rome did with the barbarians. The 4th century AD, the Roman Empire, the greatest civilization in the world. Its legions are invincible. Its cities shine with marble. Its laws govern half the known world. And this is where it is important to pause, because at this very moment the Romans make a decision that will destroy everything 100 years later. They begin inviting barbarians into the army on a massive scale, not as slaves, not as prisoners, but as full-fledged soldiers. Does it sound reasonable? At first glance, yes. Rome has a problem. The empire's population is shrinking. Wealthy Romans do not want to serve in the army. They pay their way out. They hire replacements. They prefer to live in comfort, yet the borders must be guarded. The Persians are pressing from the east, the Germanic tribes from the north. The legions need men. And the barbarians are the perfect solution. They are strong. They are accustomed to war. They are willing to serve in exchange for Roman citizenship and land. It all starts innocently enough. The 3rd century, Emperor Gallienus allows barbarians to serve in the legions. At first, just a few. Germans, Thracians, Sarmatians. They fight bravely for Rome, defend the borders, and become Romans. 50 years pass. Now, half the army is made up of barbarians. They are no longer just soldiers. They are officers. They command legions. Some become generals. The Romans are the masters. The barbarians do the fighting. The Romans enjoy life. But wait, here is what happens next. The year 378. The Goths approach the borders of the Roman Empire. An entire nation, tens of thousands of people, women, children, the elderly. They are fleeing from the Huns, who are devastating their lands. The Goths ask Emperor Valens to let them into the empire. Valens agrees. He sees refugees. He sees future soldiers. The Goth men will replenish the legions. The empire will gain defenders. Everyone is happy for a second. Roman officials at the border begin to abuse the Goths. They demand bribes. They take their weapons but do not provide the promised food. They sell dog meat to the Goths at the price of gold. They steal their children into slavery. The Goths endure it. A year, 2, and then they revolt. The year 378, the Battle of Adrianople. The Gothic cavalry crashes into the Roman infantry. Emperor Valens dies on the battlefield. 2/3 of the Roman army are destroyed. Think about that. The greatest military machine of the ancient world was shattered by the very barbarians the Romans themselves had let in. Not by conquerors, not by invaders, by refugees. What does Rome do after this defeat? It invites even more barbarians. The new emperor, Theodosius, realizes the army must be rebuilt quickly. There are not enough Romans, so it's back to the barbarians. He makes peace with the Goths, settles them within the empire, gives them land, allows them to live by their own laws, and, most importantly, hires them into the army. Entire tribes with their own leaders and their own structures. Now, it is not individual barbarians who have become Romans serving in the Roman army. Now it is barbarian units serving under the command of their own kings. This is where the crack becomes a chasm, because these warriors are not loyal to Rome. They are loyal to their own leaders. They receive Roman gold, wear Roman armor, and are called Roman foederati, but they are not Romans. The year 407. The barbarian general Stilicho is effectively the ruler of the Western Roman Empire. He is half Vandal. He commands all the legions. He decides who will be emperor. The Emperor Honorius himself is a weak youth who is more interested in raising chickens than in governing an empire. And here is the irony. Stilicho serves Rome faithfully. He repels invasions, defends Italy, and saves the empire again and again. Yet the Romans hate him because he is a barbarian, because he is too powerful, because true Romans are jealous of his authority. The year 408, Roman conspirators accuse Stilicho of treason. He is executed. His family is murdered. His allies are slaughtered. The Romans celebrate. They have finally gotten rid of the barbarian in power. 2 years pass. The year 410, the Visigothic king Alaric lays siege to Rome, a city that had not seen an enemy at its walls for 1,000 years, a city that had conquered the world. Alaric is not a conqueror from distant lands. He is a former Roman foederatus. He served in the Roman army. He defended this empire. But Rome did not pay him the gold it promised. Rome did not give his people land. Rome cheated him. And so Alaric takes what he is owed by force. August 24th, 410. For the first time in 800 years, but here is what is important to understand. Alaric did not destroy Rome in a military sense. He looted the city and left. The empire continued to exist. It still had provinces, armies, and resources. But something had broken forever. The myth of Rome's invincibility had died. The barbarians saw it. The eternal city could be taken. The Romans saw it. They were defenseless without their barbarian foederati. And here is the paradox. After the sack of Rome, the empire became even more dependent on barbarians because it had no soldiers of its own left. The Romans had forgotten how to fight. They had become accustomed to paying others to protect them. The next 60 years are a slow agony. Barbarian kings, one after another, become the commanders-in-chief of the Roman army. Ricimer, Gundobad, Odoacer. They install and depose emperors like puppets. They divide the provinces among themselves. They create their own kingdoms on Roman soil. The emperors reign, but they do not rule. The year 455. The Vandals, whom Rome had once let in as foederati, sail from Africa and sack Rome again. More thoroughly this time. For 14 days they carry everything of value out of the city. Rome no longer resists. There is no one left to do so. The year 476. The barbarian warlord Odoacer deposes the last Western emperor, a boy named Romulus Augustulus, 16 years old. Odoacer sends the imperial regalia to Constantinople. The Western Roman Empire no longer exists. Just imagine this scene for a second. A barbarian who grew up in the Roman army, whom Rome trained, armed, and made a general, walks into the imperial palace. He takes the boy emperor off the throne, strips him of his purple robes, and says, "An emperor is no longer needed. I will rule Italy myself." Rome did not fall to an invasion of savage hordes. Rome fell at the hands of those it had let in, trained, armed, and made part of its system. Think about the modern day. First lesson: when you invite someone into your system, your company, your team, or your country, make sure they truly become a part of that system. Rome gave the barbarians weapons and titles, but it did not make them Romans. It did not give them its culture or a sense of belonging. They remained outsiders wielding Roman swords. Second lesson: do not delegate key functions to those who do not share your values. The Romans stopped serving in their own army. They entrusted the defense of the empire to those who were indifferent to it. Once the barbarians realized their own strength, they seized power. Third lesson: if you make promises to people who hold power, keep them. Rome constantly deceived its foederati, withholding gold, denying them land, and humiliating them. And every act of betrayal brought the end closer. The history of Rome teaches us a simple but harsh truth. A civilization does not die when it is attacked by enemies. It dies when it stops believing in itself, when its citizens are no longer willing to defend it, when comfort becomes more important than duty. Rome could have stopped the barbarians at any moment. It had the resources, the wealth, and the knowledge, but it lacked the will. The Romans of the final centuries did not want to serve in the army. They did not want to sacrifice their comfort for the common good. They wanted someone else to solve their problems, and the barbarians were happy to take on that role. And then they took everything else. Great empires are not conquered. They are invited in. They are let through the gates. They are given weapons. They are made part of the system. And then people are surprised when the system changes masters. If this story has given you something to think about, please hit the like button. Share this video with those who value the lessons of history. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. Because history repeats itself. Not literally, but the patterns remain the same. And understanding these patterns is the only thing that can keep us from repeating the mistakes of the past. Thank you for staying with me until the end. See you in the next video.